Let's move you to KZN now, where the death toll in the KwaZulu-Natal flash floods has risen to 21. The number is expected to climb in the coming days as the search for missing victims continues in the hardest hit town of Ladysmith. SABC News reporter Jade Paulse and video journalist Sbu Tembe are watching the story for us. Jade, thank you for your time. So what can you tell us about the latest recovery of victims and deaths, and how many people are still missing as we speak?
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Paulse, and to the viewers back at home. And yes, the numbers, we've been seeing them increasing. Yesterday, we were sitting at 16. Last night, 18. I am told by the Premier of the province, Sbu, that we are sitting now at 22 people who have lost their lives on Christmas Eve with the devastating flash floods. Paulse, just looking at some of those community members who are still scouring some of the streams and the rivers and looking through the thick, lush vegetation for their loved ones. And we've spoken to some of them this morning who say they have not given up hope. What they really want is to find their loved ones and give them a proper burial. But to talk to us more about some of the interventions on the ground, what provincial government is doing, I am joined by the Premier of the province, Sbu. Thank you so much for joining us, Premier. You yourself have also visited some of the bereaved family members. Just talk to us about some of the interventions on the ground and what you have done in terms of allaying some of them and speaking to some of those members that are really, really devastated.
Well, we are very sad with the turn of events in the province. We wish to send our condolences once more to the families of the ones of the deceased. We're standing, unfortunately, at 22 fatalities. We had one 3-year-old last night that was recorded. And we're standing at 6 that are still missing. And you're correct to say our teams are not going to give up until we find the last body. We are working with all the teams. We are very grateful to the national government that we've had support in terms of increasing our resources with the helicopters and more search and rescue teams. That is why now we are getting more and more teams on the ground that will help us to recover as many as we can of those. Sadly as well that with the police, there are people who had not reported that they were with their family members and they lost them. And that is why you would find that maybe on the daily basis you would have numbers increasing, because we had just a family that came forward and said, I was with my family members and there were 4 of us and there's only 2 now. The other 2 we are still missing, and that's the kind of information that we are now relying on. We've also called on community members to say, please report any missing persons, but also to call on the province-wide to say, please search and check for your relatives, because it was a Christmas day when this incident happened and other people were visiting their relatives, and they probably know when those relatives do not return in January that probably those are some of the people that are now missing. And we really want to congratulate particularly the teams, to thank the search and rescue teams, because they risk their lives as well, streaming along all the rivers in search of the bodies of our loved ones. We have put interventions as the province. Today we're having other burials that are happening. Some of the families that are burying their loved ones today are the ones that have not found other bodies, but they've decided to start with the burials, and we are giving them counseling. We have our teams that are working with them. Our leadership in the province are also with those families as well, just to make sure that we give the necessary support that they need during this very difficult time. We have one family member who's lost almost all the 6 members of the family, the grandchildren, the children, and it's devastating.
Premier, I know that you're going to be visiting one more family before you wrap up with the interventions on the ground. I'll let you be and let you go on. Thank you so much for talking to us there and just explaining to us that the numbers are still climbing and there possibly could be many more people that are still missing, and a call to community members to also report their missing loved ones. Thank you very much, Premier. Well, I also just want to make mention of this bridge. If Sbu can just show you Paulse on your screens right now, that bridge is actually one of the bridges that also washed away the Tembe and Msimang family. They were making their way in a Ford Ranger when 9 occupants relocate and find 7 of those family members. 1 is still missing. I'm told that they are still looking for some of the members, so we'll try and see if we can't catch up with the Tembe family. We saw them earlier this morning searching the riverbeds, and you know, if you just look at this particular stream now, this is one of the streams that led into the Clipped River. I'm told that there are 2 streams that were really bloated, and that's the reason why some of the people lost their lives, including those that are living in low-lying areas. I'm also told that there's a caravan park not too far from where we are in Paulse, and there are also community members who have lost their loved ones. But we'll try and speak to those relatives and bring you the latest on the ground. It's back to you in studio.
Jade, it's utter devastation. I tell you, that's Jade Paulse on the Ladysmith flash floods for us there. Thanks very much indeed for that update.